Professor Ian Fraser is one of Australia's most prominent vaccine experts. The former Australian of the Year says chances are most of us will be exposed to coronavirus, but he's urging us not to panic. Professor Fraser spoke to Chris Allen.
Professor Fraser, what was your reaction when you first heard of the emergence of this virus?
Well, obviously, a new virus coming into the repertoire of viruses, it's something we need to learn about. The data from China suggested that people were dying from it, so it was one that we would have to learn about quickly.
Were you surprised that a new virus like this had popped up?
No, in my lifetime I can count 7 new viruses that have arrived, and we don't have vaccines for most of them as yet. This is quite a common event in human history, is a plague, if you like, of a new virus.
Professor Ian Fraser helped create the HPV vaccine that saves millions of women from cervical cancer around the globe. He's won many awards for his work, including being named Australian of the Year. He says we need to accept most of us will be exposed to the new coronavirus.
This is a fairly infectious virus, and I think it would be highly difficult to contain it, even with all of the measures that we're now putting in place in Australia.
There have been all sorts of conspiracy theories about where this virus came from, that it was created by the Chinese or the CIA, but where do you think it came from?
Coronaviruses in humans have come always from animals to start with, and SARS and MERS came from defined animals. This one will have come from an animal as well, probably a bat, but we don't know for certain.
So all those wild theories are just that?
They are just wild theories. They have no grounding in fact.
Facts are what Professor Fraser says we need at a time like this. He says while many of us will contract a minor version of this coronavirus, most of us will survive. And if we can stop the hospitals being swamped, save lives.
At the moment, the people who are most at risk are the elderly and anybody who's got a problem with their immune system for one reason or another. So they might have had chemotherapy for cancer, or they might have an autoimmune disease like diabetes. These are the people who seem at particular risk of getting complications of the infection.
Now, I'm a granddad. Should I be avoiding my grandchildren?
You should be keeping your social distance from them, as I do with my grandchildren. But remember that at the moment the chances of them being infected are very small, and children don't seem to get infected with this virus. Or if they do, they don't get sick with it.
So do you think our government is doing enough to contain the spread here?
Yes, I absolutely think that what the government has introduced makes perfect sense.
Should we be doing as some countries have and literally closing the place down for a period of 2 weeks?
I can't see that that would make a significant difference in the long run. It might mean that for 2 weeks we had less cases, but then when you cease closing down the country, the virus is still there and it's still going to carry on spreading.
Professor Fraser says the other virus we have to deal with is the hysteria that sees people fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah, this is not something to panic about. This is something to accept and get on with life and make sure that we do the best we can to be ready for whatever happens. The good news is that if we can slow the epidemic down, which is what we're planning to do with all this social distancing and hand washing and all the rest of it, then the chances are that somewhere along the way we will develop an effective treatment for the virus infection to stop people getting seriously ill, and in due course a vaccine.
Professor Fraser is an advisor on medical research at Queensland University, where some of his colleagues are now working on a vaccine for COVID-19.
I know that the group that have been developing the vaccine have got to the stage where they're doing animal testing of the potential vaccine now. We have to be realistic. Even if the animal testing suggests that this is a possibly effective vaccine, it will take at least a year to get through all of the necessary steps, from having a potential vaccine, working out how to scale up the production of it, going into tests for safety in humans, and then eventually tests in the community to see if it's effective.
So we just have to ride it out?
Yeah, we have to minimise the chances of the virus spreading quickly, but accept that it's probably going to spread through the community in its entirety. How
long do you think it will be before life gets back to normal?
Well, that's of course the $64 question. I think that the epidemic will probably run its course within a year. All the modelling suggests that that's what will happen.
Professor Fraser's advice again is to get on with things, follow the rules and enjoy life as best you can. Be calm, not panicked.